Welcome back, guys and gals. Happy Friday to you. My name is Joseph James. I'm here with my good friend and colleague and partner in crime, Marty Errico from Traders Audio, and together we're doing our crude oil morning prep this morning. We're going from the screens here in Los Angeles all the way to the trading floor on the NYMEX in New York City. That's right. My name is Joseph James. I'm from SchoolOfTrade.com. Give me a call anytime. 8 a.m. Eastern Time, we start our live trade room at School of Trade. We call all of our trades live in real time. And, of course, my good friend and partner in crime, Marty Errico from Traders Audio, him and his partner, Jeffrey, they do a wonderful job every morning at 8:50 a.m., Monday through Friday, get a live broadcast directly from the NYMEX exchange. All righty? Let's get started. First things first, I'm starting with a technical approach. I'm a technical analyst this morning looking at a top-down, which means we'll start with a slower time frame and work our way down to a faster time frame. My job is going to be to analyze what's happened over the last few weeks, the last few days, the last few hours, and specifically, I'm going to take special notice to what happened over the past few hours coming out of London. Once we can find out what's happened over the past few weeks, the past few days, and the past few hours, we should be able to anticipate direction at the open and look for those high percentage trading opportunities starting as early as 8 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. So we're planning our morning ahead of time. We got to have a plan, and of course, we'll then go execute that plan in our live trade room together with our members. So looking for a top-down approach, slow time frame first, fast time frame last, and that will give me the ability to anticipate direction and look for those high percentage trading opportunities. Moving forward here, I've also got my partner in crime, Marty Errico, along with me today. Once I'm done with my charts, we're going to toss it all the way across the country to the NYMEX exchange, where we've got some pit analysis for you this morning. Very unique and very powerful way to begin your day. Not many traders have access to this information. And of course, we've got market direction, intermarket divergence, specifically crude oil, RBOB gasoline, heating oil, and Brent crude. We'll look at market internals. We'll look at options prices. And of course, we'll look at those always important and sometimes a little elusive pit session trading levels. Don't forget, kids, if you're following along at home, there'll be different levels that I use than to what Marty uses because of different start and stop times on the trading floor. So make sure you're aware of that. Listen in when Marty talks about the levels for today. All righty? Looking good, looking good. Now that we know the plan for today, let's jump right into it and let's look at some charts. First things first, I want to remind you guys, every morning we've got all of our charts, all of our commentary, as always, posted right on our blog. Now, if you go over to sidewaysmarkets.com, Sideways Markets, that's our main blog homepage. Go to sidewaysmarkets.com, and of course, there's a link right here on the front, crude oil squawk and prep, right? So grab that, and that will put you over to our crude oil blog. I'm going to start today here first with a news snapshot. We don't have a lot to worry about today when it comes to news, but that in itself is a big concern, right? So we have no major news today. It's a summer Friday with no major news. We've seen this for the last week. We've known this morning is going to be a challenge. We know this is going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride here on Friday morning. Let's think about it. As we always do every morning, right, we think to ourselves, what day of the week, what week of the month, what month of the year? Today's Friday, second week of the month. This is the month of August, right? So what do we know about this? First of all, Friday. Oh, Friday. The love-hate relationship we have with Friday in the summertime. Now, Friday's any other time of the year, not much different than the rest of the week. We see just as many trading opportunities, but I'll tell you, on a summer Friday, everybody seems to have a little case of the Fridays, right? Everybody seems to have a little bit of a people are going to take off early. People are going to use it as an excuse to take a long weekend, right? If I got a camping trip planned this weekend, going out of town with the boat, the pool, whatever, doesn't matter. Fridays are always going to be fewer people participating, okay, no matter what. Summertime Fridays are even worse, right? Summertime Fridays, everybody's thinking about getting out of their office and getting the weekend started. So we know a Friday on the summertime, low volume, as I always say, it'll be consistently inconsistent. consistently inconsistent on Friday. So we are suspicious of the price action. We are always looking for clues in market personality, and we're always watching the tape on a Friday. What about the second week of the month? Second week of the month, that there really isn't much to worry about in the second week of the month. Third week of the month is OPEX. Last week of the month has the last day of the month, right? First week of the month is the first day of the month. So it's not that big of a deal. Second week of the month, not going to worry about it too much. Next week, we'll be talking about OPEX, right? Obviously, next week, we'll talk about it then. Month of August, speaking of which, the month of August is a summer month. A summer month should always tell us that there are going to be times of good volume and times of very low volume. There will be times when we see lots of opportunity, and there'll be times when we don't see any opportunity. It's up to us to navigate through those times of very quick, fast-moving price and those times of very slow, sluggish moving price, right? That happens throughout the month of August, all right? If you go to Europe in the month of August, you'll see almost everybody on vacation. Now, clearly, that's case by case. But head to Spain, head to Italy. You're going to see the majority of people on vacation the month of August. So this vacation, self-fulfilling prophecy, people know the month of August is going to be lower volume. It really just kind of all snowballs into a relatively inconsistent price action type of month of trading. Now, again, I don't want to make it sound like we can't trade the month of August. What I do need to be aware of is that it's going to be inconsistent. So be aware of it. Don't be surprised when price action slows down for 20 minutes and then comes right back for the next hour. Don't be surprised if we finish today, now that we've talked about a summer Friday, now that you know what to expect on a summer Friday, don't be surprised if we see today very inconsistent, right? Back and forth, good price action, bad price action. We're going to take a look at some charts here in a second, and you're going to see here, I'm expecting to see a range-bound day today. And, well, let's jump right into it. So summertime Friday, no major news on the calendar. We usually get a chance to hear from President Obama here in the United States around 10:30, 11 o'clock on Fridays. We tend to hear from our good friends down the street at PIMCO, in the middle of the morning session on Fridays. So we tend to hear some political chatter, right? Some trader chatter coming on the loudspeakers on our news feeds during Friday mornings. But again, tough to tell right now exactly what's going to be happening. We'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But we should see a few opportunities here to get some good reaction to all the politicians sticking their foot in their mouth. So looking at the chart this morning, here's my anchor chart. Anchor chart, slowest time frame. What's the most important thing on an anchor chart? What's my goal? My number one objective on an anchor chart, right? Anchor chart being the slowest time frame I use. The number one objective I have, find market direction, right? The second thing I'm doing, I'm finding major support and resistance. So two objectives on an anchor chart. This is the slowest time frame that I use. I'm looking for market direction and I'm looking for major support and major resistance. Now, we look at this anchor chart and we can clearly see this just roller coaster ride. This is why I call my blog Sideways Markets, because this is the stuff that dreams are made of, guys. This is the stuff that continues to make me money with crude oil trading, because crude is very, very predictable to go from ranges, right, highs to lows, like a lot of other markets. But crude oil just makes it a little bit too easy because it moves so well. So here we are now. We have this slightly bearish tone to it. You can see we barely slipped below that 102.50 area down to 102.22. I do expect that 102.22 to be retested today. Looking at this now, again, staying true to our plan, what's the market direction? Well, the market direction over the past day and a half here, 2 days, has been lower. However, we can see here the last 12 hours, though, has been higher. So it's a little bit difficult to tell what the direction is right now. The big clue, though, lies in this trend line. Now, guys, remember, trend lines are not supposed to be thin. As I say, trend lines are not considered to be a Sharpie, right? A trend line is considered to be a crayon. It's a thick, right? It's a thick range that we have to draw around it, right? Almost like throw a Bollinger Band on top of the trend line, and that's the actual resistance that you're going to see. So don't assume that trend line is a specific price level. It's going to have a buffer zone right around it. Again, imagine imagine a Bollinger Band placed around that trend line. And that's kind of the visual that I want you to see. So we see here now, price has gone lower low, tested the trend line. Now what I see is I see this little bounce is nothing more than a bounce. We didn't test the 105.51, right? If this was a strong uptrend here, we would have already tested that 105.51. So because we didn't, now I am going to expect price to move lower to 103.56, 102.83, and possibly right back down to that 102.22. So the trend direction at this time, right, is moving sideways to moving down, right? If I zoom in on this chart a little bit closer here, you can see we did not get a lower low, so we know that the price action has the potential to keep going higher, but I don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. We don't have any news right now coming out. We have nothing here at 8:30, 9 o'clock, see open. I would think this price is going to continue to move lower here as we go into the 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock hour. If I'm wrong, which I frequently am, if price does not collapse, again, if it collapses, I'm looking for shorts, obviously. If it goes higher here, this is going to be the challenge. The challenge is going to be when we hit that trend line, I'm going to be looking for price to get and stay above 104.96. I always like to look at that next high here, the next swing high above me, and just imagine the price trying to break out and coming right back down in. So this trend line gives it away. The trend line is the stickiness that these traders are going to have a hard time pushing through. So I will use that trend line resistance as a very big clue. We move up, bounce off the trend line. Now we begin, it looks like we're about to move lower. Let's see if we get some more clues here. Let's see if we can get some more clues. This right here tells me I'm thinking range-bound market. Trendline resistance overhead, right? We've got a little bit of resistance there at 105. And of course, if we really want to draw out the trend, if we really want to look at the range, in my opinion, will be from the 105.51 down to that 102.22. So that will be the range that I'm going to use today. That will probably be the most important range we get today. Now again, let's keep going. This is just the anchor chart. The anchor chart is going to tell me direction and major support and resistance. Now here's a 30-minute chart. This is one of the only time-based charts you'll see me use. This is a very common 30-minute chart. And look what we see here. A very interesting scenario. We don't see this very often where we have all of the previous days. Now this is an indicator we developed for our students. And basically what it does is it shades the ranges from one day to the next. So it's an easy visual, right? When it's colored red, we're moving lower, right? When it's colored yellow, that means we have an expansion of the day. When it's green, it means we're moving higher. So looking at this chart right away, we can see clearly this bearish trend. Now, the reason why I'm saying expect to see a sideways range is because look at where we are and look at the levels above us and below us. First of all, what stands out first is the prior week's low. If you recall, yesterday morning, Thursday morning, in our live trade room, right, my exact words were, once we saw them go below that previous low of day, we knew that prior week low would be the next to be tested. So you can see the prior week low definitely held. So the buyers have been able to fight for that prior week low to keep the price above 102.67. They were able to put in a print at 102.22, so that becomes the low of the range. But again, the theory behind this is that the sellers tried, the price was rejected. You can see the candlestick wicks here on the 30-minute chart. I'm sure it looks just like that on a 5-minute or a 15-minute as well. So you can see the sellers tried, and then failed. Then, as they come up off these lows now, they run right into this trend line. This trend line clearly acting as resistance. You can see it a little bit better on this chart than on that anchor chart. And the previous high of day at 104.96. Now I'll tell you, it reeks of a sideways range when we don't test the 104.96. How did we go all the way to 104.82 and not test the 104.96? How did those buyers just walk away ahead of the previous high of day? It makes no sense at all, right? It makes no sense at all. And what it does tell me is that clearly the buyers did not have enough strength to push to 104.96. Clearly, the sellers did not have enough strength to keep the price below 102.67, right? That tells me right away. Rejection at the lows, rejection at the highs. This just lines up perfectly here for an inside day. I'm inside the range from yesterday. I've got a flattened cloud. This is a huge clue. You can see nice big clouds here when price is moving well. Very narrow cloud there. So we can see there are lots of technical clues right now that are telling us this price action is consolidated. Nobody really has any confidence in any solid direction right now. Remember, when I see sideways ranges, when I see wedges, when I see flat moving averages, when I see double tops and bottoms, when I see that sideways range, the first thing I think of is these buyers or sellers don't have any confidence. And something needs to come along to give them the confidence, right? Maybe it's a hurricane announcement this morning. All of a sudden, people are confident to buy crude because they feel price will rise. We need something to come out and get this market personality kick-started this morning on a Friday morning. I'm seeing sideways ranges. I want to go one more time frame here, and now this time frame really, in my opinion, illustrates everything that we've talked about so far, but more importantly, it shows us now exactly how close we are to transitioning. We are right in this transitional area right now. Look at the bull channel. Now remember, this bull channel was the pop right off those previous low of day. Remember that? There's your 102.60 right there. Remember this? 102.67. 102.67. That was the prior. Well, look, I'm an English teacher, right? Boy, if I was teaching English to you guys, I'd be up a creek. The prior week's low was down at 102.67. So this is that rise off those lows. Remember, we saw it on the anchor chart. We saw it on the 5-minute and 30-minute chart. Now here we are. We can see right away the bull channel now has begun to fail. This is why I say a very, very important area. If we go below this 103.70 area, we're going to slip and fall out of this channel. I'm looking short. Okay, broken down channel. We know it's a sideways range. We're probably going to go back down and test that 102.60. So get me below 103.70. I've got 100 ticks. I've got $1 to go down to that previous low of day. I like that idea. I like that idea, selling short below 103.70. I also want to remind us, too, I can get long here, but remember, we've got that trend line resistance overhead here. So if I'm going to get long, I've got to do it quick. I've got to get into this thing early because once I get up around that 105 area, we start running into some serious resistance. So, guys, we're going to see some opportunities here. It's going to come quick. The only question I have is what's the personality going to look like? What's the personality? Is anybody out there trading, right? Is there anybody out there that's not on their computer and is maybe gassing up the boat this morning or getting the camping gear packed up? Now, I really want to hear from Marty because Marty's got his feet on the ground. See, Marty gives us a very unique way of looking at this that I don't think anybody else really gets their hands on very often. Marty, how are you today? Happy Friday to you, my man. Are they going to keep you there all day? Are you there till 2:30 today, or they let you get out early today?
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yes, last week I took an early one, so maybe this week too if we slow up and we're slow.
I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you. How's it looking out there on the floor this morning to you?
Okay, so here's the deal. I like that you just and added that in at the last point when you're talking about the 103.70. Okay, so we break 103.70. We are going lower, basically. So just kind of like yesterday, let me get the screen. So basically, just like yesterday, remember we were looking at 104 to 104.20? Remember how we were talking about that yesterday, right? We talked about the fact that if we open below 104, that we would trade lower, right? Below the 104.20 to 104 even, that little bit of a range, right? So we opened up below that yesterday, and we got the bearish day, right? You can see on the floor chart, we open up below that. And we are opening yesterday was down at 103.50, right? That's yesterday's pit trade chart. We ended up coming back. So same thing today, ladies and gentlemen. If we open up above now the 104.20, we could be bullish, right? We can buy all the way up towards the higher end of the range. If we open up above that 104.20, right? Here's the sideways range. Here's that 104.20 basically to 103, 102.5 up to 104.20 range right here, shaded in. You can see the range. Now as we kind of are towards the higher end of it, this is the 104.20. If we open up above it, we could trade a little bit higher, just like this morning, and break up and trade back up towards those 105s, right? Now, if we break below 103.70, once again, if we open up or break below 103.70, boy, don't we have a lot of room to trade down towards the lows. That 102.5, the low of our range, first of all, and also major level of support. You can see it did a little bit of stop running there. This is a range chart, so it's not going to show you the time, but we weren't down there too long at that 102.5, but they ran a bunch of stops here, and that's what prevented us from taking that other wave short to kind of continue lower. So we never took that trade because we knew this was stop running in the pit, and the market makers were running stops, so at least we were able to see that. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, again, if we get below 103.70, we're selling, right? If we open it up the pit session as well, we're selling. If we open up above 104.20, we're going to be buying. So it's pretty much simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. Again, not much to it here today on a Friday. Expect sideways trade. Again, we can open up, I imagine, around the 104 even, right, and just trade sideways. We have to clear 104.20. We have to open up above 104.20, and we have or open up below 103.70 to get something going. If not, expect sideways trade, right? Expect that sideways chop slop. All right, so it's 8 o'clock, and we are getting some traders starting to come over to the desk, so we could possibly see a little bit of a move, and that's going to determine whether we are bullish or bearish for the day, depending on where we open for the pit session. So kind of just going through our normal routine today, we are going to take a look at our usual suspects here, and this morning what I got for you here is a little bit of a slightly firm higher market, right? We're a little firm here on August 9th. I have your crude RBOB, heating oil, Brent all trading just slightly higher, just a bit here, but nothing really significant. We're talking about in positive territory by, what, a half penny or so. Really across the board, that's in the crude RBOB and heating oil. The Brent crude as well actually trades just about a half penny higher as well at 107.21, so we're like about 50 cents higher really across the board, which is setting us up again for a move, right? This is just a setup right now. Looking at the Brent WTI spread this morning, again looking at our supply-demand differentials, we have your Brent WTI SEP spread right now. We're going to be moving on over to the OC spread soon, but right now we're SEP still. Alrighty guys, so that Brent WTI spread right now is pretty much unchanged at 325, and again we're unchanged, so no indication yet from the Brent WTI spread. Earlier when I was doing the worksheet about 15 minutes ago, we were in contango by about 10 ticks, so that's why I have the green arrow there. But right now, we basically moved to we basically just moved on the Brent WTI spread to unchanged, if I'm correct. And yeah, I am. Wow, interesting there. Interesting to say the least. Again, so now we are unchanged on the Brent WTI spread, so a little bit of a sideways indication at the moment. Again, that would represent that we can be trading possibly sideways today. So time to put the red arrow there and have a little bit of an indecisive. There you go. Range. The crack values are all the crack values, and looking at our SEP-OC spread, SEP-NOBI, SEP-DEES, they're looking a little bullish at the moment, right? So that's why I have the one green arrow, and the rest are sideways. So not a huge indication. We're getting really a sideways indication out of our spreads today. That's why there's a green arrow and a red arrow, because it's sideways. So again, we're getting a little bit of a sideways indication from our spreads. Let's go down and take a look at all the crack values. They're all sideways as well today. As you can see down lower, it says sideways. Okay. Dollar index here today has been trading very sideways. I guess that's the word of the day. Dollar index has been trading in a range, a balance area basically from, we can call it a 80.95 up to basically 81.15, right? 80.95 to 81.15. We've been in a sideways range. Now starting to trade a little bit higher, working our way back up towards those 80.15s. Right now we're trading 81.08, so we have about 7 or 8 points to get back up to those 80.15s, so dollar's pretty much sideways. Again, our multiple market divergence right now are sideways as well. All right, guys, let's take a look over now into your natural gas real quickly here. Yeah, so again, dollar higher to sideways right now. Again, it's working back up towards the higher end of the range. Your euro's lower to sideways, and your cable, LIBOR, and all the rest of our usual suspects lower to sideways. That dollar's a little firm this morning. All right. As I mentioned, let's just get over to that natural gas real quickly here. Natty gas, you can see what a ride up on the natural gas we had yesterday. Overall inventory numbers, they came out with a build of 96 BCF. We were looking for 75 to 77, so a little bit higher than expectations. And again, this is a range chart, so this is going to show you how long we traded down at that 312, but we traded down for that 312 for maybe 5 or 6 seconds. There were maybe 4 to 6 prices actually, or really transactions filled around that level because it was all computer generated. It was real quick. It was very fast. There was a lot of size. So we came down to those 312s and we popped right up. And then look where we found ourselves, 318, right, to 320. We chopped around 318 to 320 for a hot minute. and then finally it broke out above, and now we are going to be looking to buy pullbacks. Again, if we get above 335 today, we're going to be safe to say we'll make it up back up to the higher end of the range, up to 342. 340 up to 342 will be our target if we get above 335. Yes, and it's that simple. Other than that, we'll trade sideways if we don't make it above 335. We'll just do what we did so far, just sideways chop today. So again, ladies and gentlemen, that's the game plan of attack for your crude and natural gas. Quickly looking at some levels now. I guess we can look at some levels here. Guys, I got some levels for you in a big way here with just only one piece of economic data scheduled for release today. That's wholesale trade at 10 a.m. We do have some levels here for your crude from yesterday's pit session. The high was up at 103.70. That's why it's a very important level there. If we break below the 103.70, yes, we could be bearish for the day. So again, your high in the pit session was 103.71. Your low was 102.22. Closing settlement number was 103.45. Daily pivot today, 103.13, which we are trading well above at the moment by about $1 here with a little bit of resistance above at 104.04, which we're holding up on right now. Again, holding up on that R1 resistance at 104.04. Got a little bit of resistance still above at 104.62 and 106.11. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a little bit of support down below at 102.55, 101.64, and 115. Open interest 281,082, and again that will be changing again at 9 o'clock today. I'll bet you we'll probably get a decrease in open interest here because there is some more money going into the yacht contract. Again, we're going to start to roll in the pit next week on Monday, so keep that in mind. Again, we're going to be starting to roll in the pit on Monday probably. That's your open interest. Implied volatility 22%, the vol index 22.5. In the options, a little thin, about 5,102 half to 102 even calls trade. And we also have about 2,102 even puts and 100 puts again, so a little bit more activity where they buy that low. Again, 5,000 to 2,000. Looking at your September natural gas now, 90 gas is currently actually trading at right now. Again, I'll give you guys the last print. Sure, currently trading at 331.40. Your high from yesterday was 332.40. The low was 312.90, and we closed and settled the day at 329.40. Daily pivot today, 324.90, which we are well above at the moment, with a little bit of resistance above at 336.90, 344.40, and 363.90. Support down below, we have that 318 even, of course, 317.40, 305.40, and 285.90. Again, we're going to be looking to get above those those 335s to get us up to 340. So again, we pop up above 335 today, we will get something going. Because volatility is firm, guys, 32 to 33% on the implied vol. Vol index is about 32 to 33 as well. So again, we're in a range right now. We were 32 a minute ago, then we were up to 33. Now we're back down to 32%. So we're in a nice range with volatility. Decent vol at 33% also. Strikes that were traded the most in the pit yesterday, more definitely on the upside. Okay, that's 315 to 340. So that means it's 315, 320, 325, 330, 335, 340, all the way calls. Unbelievable call buying in the natural gas. They definitely price in the upside. So a lot of calls opposed to puts. There were maybe like 100 puts that were traded at 350 and at 3 even. That was it, opposed to the thousands and thousands of calls that were traded. So a lot of call buying in the pit for the natural gas. Open interest 264,956, squeezing out all the shorts here, buying that 318 as we planned yesterday and really all week. So you can see all the shorts are squeezed out, and we're looking for a little bit of upside if we can break above the 335. If not, we'll trade sideways. Alrighty, guys, that's pretty much it here on a Friday morning. I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to throw it back on over to JJ as we are ready to rock and roll here. I'll see you guys in just about 45 minutes for the pit session opening bell. New day, fresh start coming your way. 45 minutes.
I love it. Thank you as always, Marty. Great job today. Great to have you here with us. Happy Friday to you. And let's see here, folks. I want to thank you guys, too. Thank you guys for coming out and seeing us this morning. Don't forget, if you want a special invitation to come out and join us Monday through Friday at 7:30 a.m. in this morning prep, we have a special invitation for you. Just shoot us an email. Drop me an email at jj@SchoolOfTrade, right, or marty@tradersaudio.com. Send us an email and say, hey, give me the invitation for tomorrow's crude oil morning prep. We've got special invites ready for you. And don't forget, if you're going to type us that email, send us some feedback too. We'd love to know what you like, what you don't like, right? So give us a call here in the office. Shoot us an email, right? We're on Skype. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a profitable week this week. Hope you guys made money. Hope you learned a little bit. Hope you earned with it. Now go have a great trading session on a Friday morning. As Marty confirmed, we got not much news here. We got some ranges to trade with. And, of course, we know that Fridays are always going to be early in, early out. So keep those lunch plans for today because it's going to be most likely an early finish to a very, very exciting week. Have yourselves a great summertime weekend. Don't forget the helmet and the sunblock. And we'll catch you guys back here 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time next Monday morning. Next week is OPEX. It's always bound to be filled with some fireworks here as we go into the dog days of summer, right in the meat and potatoes of the month of August. We'll catch you guys here this time, same place, same time, Monday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Have yourselves a great day and a great weekend. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.